Hey y'all, this is Synosis, and this is not a regular Synosis show, but this is anyway for the 13th of March 2023. Been a while since we recorded. I've actually been doing a massive text on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, like the balance changes, like the way for new, which is basically patch 2.3.0, but technically it's actually 2.33, I think it is what it's called, like in game, but it's basically patch 2.3.0, but it's called like 2.3.3 in game, I think it is. But yeah, and I wrote several parts. I wrote part 1, which is of course used. I haven't named part 1 yet. Part 1 is like before I played before I played the DLC. That's basically what part 1 is. Basically, that is just me checking out some of the things with like stats and stuff that I'm talking about, like buffs and stuff that for certain characters, and then I link to the character buffs, groundwater, air, anti-gravity, speed, and mini-turbo buffs in red changes, and then vehicle buffs, mini-turbo, and tire buffs, mini-turbo. In part 2, I went over the characters, and I went over like what the amount of points they worth, and I went with the Japanese stats basically as to what their points are for the light, medium, and heavy. Although I know that in Euro or in American, in the English, it's actually small, medium, and large. I believe it is, like it has to do with the size and stuff like that. Now I believe actually that if you're using, like, say the me character, if you're using me, for example, then it's like right, because light me is worth 47.5 points is what the light me is worth. The medium me is worth how much? Medium me is worth 47.25 points, and the heavy me is on worth 45. So the heavy me has been severely, but so part 2 was with the characters, and that was like after I played the DLC. And of course I played the DLC today as well, so I started playing it on the 11th, and I played it on the 12th, and I played it today on the 13th as well, so that's basically to indicate that after I played the DLC, right. Then part 3 is with the tires, and the funny thing is actually with the tires, if you go with the Japanese stats, then there's only 3 tires that have positive points, and that is the GLA tires at the 0.50 points total, what they're worth if you add all the stats together, and then standard blue standard at 0.25 points. Otherwise, rollers and Astor rollers are at minus 0.25 points. And same thing with the Slim, Wood, and Crimson Slim at minus 0.25 points. But of course, the thing is just that if you have the weight stats, right, the most important stats are like the speed and the mini-turbo stats, basically, is what, But I think most of the community just agrees on, like speed and mini-turbo stats is just the most important thing, right? Which is why the speed buff and the mini-turbo buff is such a big deal. But of course the handling matters as well, because yes, it can make you be able to take certain corners like easier and stuff that, Like, I would say also that this is the first time, of course, that they make it so that heavy characters can, like, have a lot of handling because certain reasons, but yeah. And then of course, part 4 went over vehicles. And I didn't know the name on all the vehicles, I believe, when I did that. I mean, I knew some of the names. At least, or did I go over all of them? Yeah, I did. I did actually go over the names here. And yeah, I also went over the fact that the invol stat, the highest invol stat, belongs to the bad wagon and the Mercedes GLA Desav. Closely followed by the standard ATV at 0.75. And also Circuit Special, B-Dash and P-Wing. Because it's interesting, right, to see that invol stat, like, I mean, sure it can be somewhat important online, especially if you're not maybe the greatest or whatever, and stuff there, because invol stat, so basically when you get hit by something you have a certain amount of invol frames afterwards. Meaning, for example, if you get hit by a red shell when the blue shell is on its way or when the blue shell is almost close to hitting you, and if you get hit by a red shell or get hit by anything, then you're going to be immune to the blue shell and stuff like that, and that can happen quite often and stuff like that. But the thing is not just that, it's not just like getting hit by items that causes the invol frames. I believe also, for example, if you fall off the stage, basically if Lakitu picks you up and he takes coins from you, even if you had 0 coins, then that will cause you to get invol frames, so you won't get hit immediately after he puts you back on the stage as well. And I think you can almost see it on the character, right? Because you go kind of invincible for a while. Like, you can almost see it on the character. Like, it's weird to explain, but yeah. And of course, certain vehicles, the funny thing is that it's mostly the heavy vehicles that really have a, high invol stat and stuff that. And I went over like a lot of the like invol stat individually, So yeah. So 0.25 invol stat is Gold Standard, Blue Falcon, Tanuki, Kart, Mercedes 300 Roadster, or SL Roadster, or whatever. Mark 8 and Sports Coupe. Yeah, I keep thinking that it's V25 Silver Wing, but it's actually Silver Arrow, I believe it is what it is on the thing. But yeah. And there is a few 0.5 invols as well. They are Bonner, Adler, Sneaker, and Prancer. Yeah. Also, the Steel Diver and the Tri-Speed also has the 0.75 invol stat. Yeah, so if you go for light stuff, Biddy Buggy, Mr. Scooty, Street Landship, Pipe Frame, Bomber City Tripper, Comet, Yoshi Bike, Standard Bike, Flame Rider, Wild Wiggle, all suffer from the -2 invol frames. Cat Cruise and Telebug managed to avoid it with 0.00 invol frames. The above mentioned Silver Wing, Silver Arrow, also has 0.00 invol frames, as does Standard Kart and the Duke. Also Koopa Clown Kart, it's called Clown Kart, and Motorcycle Zero, that's the ancient looking one. I believe that's the order, right? Because the first motorcycle, motorcycle with Link was like released with the DLC, right? With the Link stage, and that was when Link was introduced. But then later on, when they introduced the Breath of the Wild thing, they introduced the other motorcycle, I believe. Both Ink Vehicles, Buggy and Striker, I believe, and finally Master Cycle is at 0.00 invol frames. But also Sports Bike and Jet Bike. Wow, they are actually called it the correct name. Wait, is it Jet Bike? I think it is, but I actually call it the wrong thing like later on and stuff there, but yeah. Oh. But anyway, if I go further down, basically, after the vehicles, vehicles were part 5, right? No, part 4 of vehicles. Huh? Part 5 is tier list galore then. Okay. So it's part 1 is before I played the DLC. Part 2 is characters after I played the DLC. And then, what do we have part 3? Part 3 is tires. Yes, part 4 is vehicles. And then part 5 is I should have taken the dump before. Yeah, tier list galore. So vehicle tier list, so I have like my thoughts into like each section, and maybe I should make like the, what do you call it, the semicolon or the 2 dots like that. yeah, so there is a new top tier with Tanuki Kart providing the most points overall, but really anything worth 1 point or above is very good. Now the difference in points, Tanuki Kart being 1.75 points total, and Circuit Special / B-Dash and P-Wing and Standard ATV Quad is minus 2.5 points total. The difference between them is 4.25 points total. It's simple really. Minus 2.5 points plus 2.5 points, bring it up to 0 points. Then you add 2.5 points to the 1.75 points, which is 4.25 points. The only problem is, of course, I can't compare it to the old Mario Kart 8 Deluxe solution balance that I did, as that was with where the English stats were, because they do the stats differently. Because on the English stats, basically, there is no negative stats. Which is how it kind of shows in-game. But you can clearly see, right, like when you pick certain vehicles, you can see like your acceleration go down and stuff that, and that is true. Like there's very few stuff that actually have only positives to it, you know, like most things have negative stats to them. But that's kind of not how it shows up in game, because the main thing is, right, the main big thing is the characters. That's where the majority of your stats come from the character itself. But you can never see, because here's the thing, right, when you select vehicle, you cannot use the vehicle stats on its own, and you cannot use the tire stats on its own or the glider stats on its own. So like, imagine, right, if you could have it so that a vehicle wasn't picked and the glider wasn't picked and only the tires were picked, so you could see the tire stats. But yeah. So that is why it was so important to check the things and stuff that, so yeah. Since Bandwagon, GLA, Standard, ATV, Circuit Special, B-Dash and P-Wing is worth 22 points, that was with the old system, with the old Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, not using the English stats. That's of course without the added Invul stats, nor the buffs either, since I don't think the English stats are updated yet with the new changes. Of course, highest points before at 41 points total with the English system was W25, Silver Arrow, Standard Bike, Flame Rider, Wild Wiggler, Tanuki Kart, Koopa Clown Kart, Monster Sucker Zero. So yeah, it's pretty funny to see Tanuki Kart, Koopa Clown Kart, Monster Sucker Zero, W25, Silver Arrow, Standard Bike, Flame Rider still being very high up, because it's still very high up, those. Of course, with the new additions of Mach 8, Sports Coupe, Coupe, Ink Striker, Cat Cruise and Teddy Buggy. Mach 8, Sports Coupe and Ink Striker all used to be 39 points with the old system, and Cat Cruise and Teddy Buggy used to also be 39 points, alongside Comet and Jersey Box, which is sadly are lower now on the tier list and stuff that. So with the S, so I'm gonna go with the tiers and stuff that. Maybe I will take a dump after we have covered some of the stuff. But yeah, so in S tier, Tanuki Kart in the lead with blah blah blah. Now it's the overall winner basically. So Tanuki Kart wins with 1.75 points total. Then there is the Koopa Clown Kart, or just Clown Kart basically. I believe it's just, or Koopa Clown or something like that. I think it's called by just Koopa Clown or Clown Kart. And / Monster Cycle Zero, that's the ancient looking one, just to identify the differences. With 1.5 points total. Mach 8 Sports Coupe with 1.25 points total. Mercedes-Benz W25 Silver Wing Arrow. It's actually called Arrow, yeah. 1.25 points total. Yeah, Mach 8 and Sports Coupe also had 1.25 points total. And it was 1.5 points for the Motorcycle Zero and the Koopa Clown Kart. Ink Striker, 1 point total. Cat Cruiser / Teddy Buggy, 1 point total. Standard Bike and Flame Rider, 1 point total. Then is the A tier, which has a lot of vehicles this time around. Comet / Josebak at 0.75 points total. Wild Wiggler at 0.75 points total. Mercedes 300 SL, which is basically the cab or cabriolet looking thing, the one that doesn't have a roof, and the thing that doesn't look like a roadster or like only one seat in it. It definitely has 2 seats. So Mercedes 300 SL, 0.50 points total. Streetel, 0.50 points total. Standard Kart / the Duke, which is the purple, the bike, is 0.25 points total. Pipe frame is 0.25 points total. A landship is 0.25 points total. Bid buggy / Mr. Scooty is 0.25 points total. And varmint / city tripper is 0 points total. Then we get into the B tier. Here is where it starts being minuses, but these are very, very low minuses. Prancer at 0.25 points total. Blue Falcon minus 0.25 points total. Ink Buggy at minus 0.50 points total. Sports Bike / Jet Bike minus 0.75 points total. And Steel Dive and Tri Speed at minus 0.75 points total. I think it's called Tri Speed, right? Or is it no, it's Tri Speed. Jet Bike, I think it's the Jet Bike that I got the wrong name on, that it's actually called something else. Or whatever, but yeah. C tier is where it's more than, where it's like minus 1 point and higher, or lower, I mean. So it's a C tier. Bone Rattler at minus 1 point total. Sneaker at minus 1 point total. Gold Standard at minus 1.25 points total. Master Cycle at minus 1.5 points total. D tier not as bad as they used to be. Same thing with C tier, because the whole mini turbo boost to a lot of the vehicles does help a lot, and the fact also that some of the heavies have a great involved stat. So Badwagon and like Mercedes-Benz GLA. I should actually have a slash here. Slash Mercedes-Benz GLA at minus 2.25 points total. This is the D tier, by the way. Circuit Special / Speed Dasher and P-Wing minus 2.5 points total. And Standard ATV / Quad has the minus 2.5 points total. So yes, of course they are helped a lot by having the great involved stat and stuff that. Now it is pretty cool, of course, that the Steel Diver managed to climb quite a lot, because Steel Diver and Tri-Speed used to be pretty bottom as well. Now I do think that it's still a bit like, why can't you have specialist vehicles? Like, sure, I can get it right. You can have a vehicle with high handling and stuff that, and you can have like things with high speed on it, but yeah, I still think that the Circuit Special and stuff that was way too enough, because when you looked in OG Mario Kart 8, basically there were way more vehicles that shared the same tier list, because I still have the OG here Mario Kart thing, and then basically Mach 8, Circuit Special, Sports Coupe, Gold Kart, P-Dasher and P-Wing had all the same stats in OG Mario Kart 8. And the thing is, it was 31 points total for those vehicles. That was what they were worth with the old English system in the OG Mario Kart 8, not the deluxe version. And the S tier was Biddy Buggy, Landship and Mr. Scooty, and those were at 43 points total. So yeah, so that just gives you kind of a bit of a clue and stuff that. And it's pretty insane, right, that the Mach 8, the Mach 8, which basically had the same stats as the Circuit Special, Sports Coupe, Gold Kart, B-Dash, P-Wing, because you can see, right, the whole fact that it was only the Circuit Special, the B-Dash and the P-Wing that got nerfed. Right, and they're all there. But Sports Coupe, for example, Sports Coupe as mentioned, Sports Coupe, where is it? Oh, Sports Coupe. Sports Coupe is up there in S tier with Mach 8 at 1.25 points total. So it's up there. So technically that's where the Gold Kart, the P-Dasher and P-Wing should be in my point. They should be with their old bodies. And yes, I know that back then basically you had way less. Yeah, like you had way less tiers of the vehicles. You had way less tiers with the vehicles themselves. Stuff that, but yeah. Alright, I did cover everything, yeah, there. Because basically, like, if we go into the tiers like Biddy Buggy, Landship Scooty, or Mr. Scooty was one tier of vehicles. Master Cycle was in its own tier pretty much. Comet, because basically I had them work with their points, but with what they're worth, right? So yeah, Comet, Sports Bike, Jet Bike, Yoshi Bike. That is because basically those are like the ones that share the same stat, like, so yeah. So Comet, Sports Bike, Jet Bike, Yoshi Bike share the same stat. Pipe Frame, W25 Silver Arrow. I call it Silver Arrow there. Standard Bike, Flame Rider, Warmint, City Drop, One Wheel all had the same stats. Tanuki Kart and Bone Rattler used to have the same stats. Yeah, Blue Falcon and Streetle had the same stats. Standard Kart, Cat Cruiser, Prancer, Sneaker, 300, SL Roadster, the Duke, and Teddy Buggy had the same stats. Mark 8 Circuit Special, Sport Coupe, Gold Kart, P-Dasher, and P-Wing had the same stats. Again, they were only B tier, like, and they were at the bottom of B tier. Almost at the C tier. And C tier, you had the Steel Diver, the Tri-Speed, the Badwagon, GLA, Standard ATV. So that was still down in the bottom. And that was worth 29 points total. And when you compared it to the Deluxe tier, for example, where they have nerfed the stats, then Badwagon, GLA, Standard ATV was only worth 22 points. Same thing with Circus Special, P-Dash, and P-Wing. And even then, right, the Mark 8 Sports Coupe and Ink Striker shared the same points at 39 points total. And that was also what the Cat Cruiser, Comet, Yoshi Bike, and Teddy Buggy was as well. So yeah. So it's just very weird with the old OG list, pretty much. It is quite weird to see where things used to be at. Of course, the S tier back then, in OG Mario Kart 8, was Roller, Button, Azure, Roller, Leaf, all shared the same stats. And A tier was Slim Zone, Crimson Sim, and Triforce, then followed by Normal, Off-Road, Blue, Normal, Retro, and GLA. The fun is Slick and Cyber Slick was only worth 29 points. So they weren't at the top at all. You know. And Gliders, of course, Gliders were actually... There were 14 points total, 15 points total, 14 and 14. And stuff like that, but yeah. The funny thing is, of course, is that... Yeah, S tier was... Yeah, that's interesting, because if you counted points, it was small ones that were up there, that was the top tier. And then followed by more small characters. And then followed by medium characters, actually at 54 points. Cat, Pizza, and Female Villager. And that was just if you counted just the points themselves, pretty much, but yeah. And A tier and then B tier, of course, with heavies. Or with some of the heavies at least. There were, of course, less tiers. With a lot of things, you know, and stuff like that, so yeah. So even in the OG game, certain other things weren't as powerful as you would think that they would be, you know, and stuff like that, so yeah. Next up is the tire tier list. My thoughts, so yes, from a pure points perspective, you only really want to be using GLA tires, Standard Blue, Standard, and also Roller. I saw Roller and Slim, Wood, and Crimson Slim. Keep in mind, mini turbos, that is still very important there. Because technically, if you would go for, okay, what has the highest speed combined, what has the highest mini turbo, that is very, very different. It depends on how you play as a player, of course. Like how good you are, you know, how much of the shortcuts, you know, you can take, you know, and stuff there, but yeah. So yeah, so S tier is the GLA tires at 0.50 points. And then it's standard tires and blue standard at 0.25 points. Then at A tier we have roller / Azure roller at minus 0.25 points. And then slim / wood and / crimson slim at minus 0.25 points total. Then at B tier we have cushion, which is minus 0.75 points. The interesting thing is that cushions technically share stats with sponge, but then it's individual because they have two different involved stats. So that happens a lot of times with vehicles as well, that there are certain vehicles that places higher, sometimes because they don't have the same involved stat and stuff, that even if they are within the same category. which is interesting, of course. So Cushion has the minus 0.75 points. Off-road / retro off-road has minus 1 point. Triforce tires has minus 1.25 points. Leaf tires and bottom tires has also minus 1.25 points. Sponge tires also has minus 1.25 points. C tier is of course a monster / hot monster, which is also called funky monster, at minus 2.25 points. Instant tires at minus 2.5 points. And in D tier we have metal tires at minus 3 points. Gold tires at minus 3.25 points. And then E tier, down at the very bottom, with the very, very horrible stats, Slick and Cyber Slick at minus 4.25 points. Now the thing that I don't get right, okay, I can understand right, that okay, like speed used to be their thing, right? So they used to be good at speed across the board, not just like ground speed and you know, because that's what it's good at. It's ground stats that it's good at. But why not then make it so that yeah, like allow it to have negative on the other things that aren't like ground in speed and stuff like that, but buff up its handling and grip and stuff like that instead, or maybe make it an acceleration specialist. Maybe bring down the speed, but make the speed like be the same on all the areas like ground, air, anti-gravity, you know, and stuff like that. Make the speed the same throughout, but maybe nerf down the speed. Bring the acceleration slightly up, improve the handling and the grip, because it's called circuit special. It's meant to be good. A track specialist is basically what it's meant to be. So it's meant to be good in taking corners and stuff like that. So it's meant to be well balanced. It's not meant to be hurt. And of course, the reason why it got so heavily nerfed was of course because every single time trial used this vehicle and stuff like that. And the thing was, the main problem was the whole heavy combinations. The heavy combinations with the snaking. That's what made it good. Because as I showed points wise, the circuit special even back in OG Mario Kart 8 didn't have that good of a stat. Now of course, a lot of times also stat can be misleading, of course, because we all know how good the Wild Wiggly was in OG Mario Kart 8 or in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And that was of course because of the way when it turns right. When it turns, you can take corners very, 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 very close, because it kind of goes off to not be on all 4 wheels. So it's basically becomes like it's on 3 wheels, I believe it is, when it takes the corner, because there are certain vehicles that behave that way and stuff like that, and those vehicles are very, very good, by the way. And it happens with a lot of the RTV vehicles and stuff like that, which is pretty interesting. Then of course we have the character tier list, and here's my thoughts on that. Although the heavies are down at the bottom, do note their speed stat is still very important, and they can still do well. And the points difference between highest and lowest is not that big. That being said, the small and medium category were the big winners, except for that one anomaly with the super light alts, which is Toadette, Wendy Koopa and Isabelle. Which, by the way, for those that think, oh, the lights are good now. And then Toadette, Wendy Koopa and Isabelle mains at the 46.75 points total. Yeah, it's not as bad as the heavies, but still, that's like, yeah. And I went over total what the point difference was, because it's 48.25 points for the highest and it's 45 points for the lowest. So it's not that much point difference, but yeah. So in S tier, in the light category, of course, we have the Feather, which is the Baby Peach and Baby Daisy at 48.25 points total. Then in the super light category, there's Koopa Troopa, Lakitu, and Bowser Jr. at also at 48.25 points total, because I take them in like the points total and stuff like that. So those are basically the highest points characters. But then of course also at 48 points we have the Speedy, which is also a light category. We have Toad, Shy Guy, and Larry Koopa at 48 points total. And then of course we also have at 48 points we also have medium alts. So in mid category we have Luigi and Iggy Koopa. And I don't know why I had just I didn't have the thing. I don't have the correct thing there. Yeah, so 48 points total. Then in the A tier, we have the light class. Yeah, it's called light. I was like, huh? Is it just called light? Yeah, it is. Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Dry Bones, and the Light Me at 47.5 points total. Then we have the Light Welters, which are the lightest medium class, which is Cat Peach, Inkling Female, and Villager Female at 47.5 points total. Then in the Welter class we have Peach, Daisy, Yoshi, and Birdo at 47.5 points total. Then we're going down to the B tier, even though they're still very, very close in points. We have the medium with Mario, Ludwig von Koopa, and Medium Me at 47.25 points total. Then we have Feather Alts, which is also in the light class, Baby Rosalina and Lemmy at 47 points total. Then we have Welter Alts, which is of course a medium class, Tanuki Mario, Inkling Male, and Villager Male at 47 points total as well. And then we also have the first heavy class, or the lightest heavy class, which is the light cruisers, Rosalina, King Boo, and Link at 47 points total. Keep in mind, of course, that certain classes only got speed increase, and certain classes got both speed and mini turbo as a boost. Light cruisers, of course, only got the speed boost and not the mini turbo boost. And then at C tier we have metal. We have the metal class, which is also heavies. There's only heavies left now, or well, except for that one light class. Metal. We have Metal Mario / Gold Mario and Pink Gold Peach at 46.75 points total. Then we have the super light alts, which is Toadette, Vanilla Koopa, and Isabelle at 46.75 points total. So I don't know if they messed up stats somehow. I don't know, and I double checked with counting so that I hadn't counted it wrong. And I don't know. That's very, very weird because it's clear that they got buffed. They got buffed in the speed stat, and I forgot if they got buffed up in the. Let me actually double check here. Did they get buffed in the actual other stat as well? Did they get actually buffed in the? They did not get buffed in the mini turbo stat. But then again, like the Feather and the Feather Alts did not get buffed in their mini turbo stat. Neither did the Super Lights. The Speedy, of course, did get buffed in their mini turbo stats, as well as the Lights did. But other than that, though, because there was only 2 mini turbo buffs in the light, in the small section, and then in the medium section, there was only the Welters, the mediums, and the medium alts that got the mini turbo buff. So yeah, so there weren't that many categories that did get the mini turbo buff. And stuff that, like, okay, most of the classes did get, or most of the categories did get a speed buff, except for the heavies, like not including the light cruisers. And yeah, so yeah. Then of course, down at the bottom on the D tier, we have the cruiser class, which is Waluigi, Donkey Kong, and Roy Koopa at 46 points total. So it's a pretty big jump. It's 0.75 points less, basically. So yeah, and then of course in the heavy we have Wario and Dry Bowser at 46 points total. Then down at the very, very bottom with the super heavies, we have Bowser, Motor Koopa Jr. and the Heavy Me at 45 points total. Now this of course does not make them bad, but the fact that they did not get any sort of buff whatsoever is really what put them down at the bottom, because we saw there how much the points mattered for the light cruisers. They're going up to 47, And yes, and it's pretty interesting, right, how with heavy vehicles have the higher invol stat, but when it comes to the characters, the lighter characters have the high invol stat. Because if I go back to here, what the stat for the characters was, if you go back to here where the stats are, so basically the last stat is the invol stat, and it's 4.0 for the federals and light, and then it's 3.75 for the super light and the super light alts. Then for the speed we have a 3.50 invol stat, same thing for the light welters. Then the welter alts, medium and medium alts, we have 3.25 invol stat. Then for the light cruisers we have, which is the lightest of the heavies, we have 3.0 invol stat. And then for the rest of the heavies after that we have a 2.75 invol stat. So yes, it's not nearly double, of course, because they don't go down to 2 in invol stat, but having 4 invol stat is pretty good. So yeah. Now I don't know, of course, if say like a high invol stat will ever become like a thing, you know, that you will need and stuff that, but yeah. And of course I went also over gliders, shouldn't take too long to make, and basically I split them up into category 1, category 2, category 3, category 4. But I did call some of them wrong things, like the one that I call Triforce Kite is the Hylian Kite, or whatever it's called, right? And then the other one is called something, it's called after what the thing is called in Breath of the Wild, the other thing. So yeah, so I got their name wrong, but the Triforce Kite is the blue one, and the thing that I call Hylian Kite here is called something else because I got some of the names wrong, so yeah. But yeah, and the thing is that category 1, category 2 and category 3, which is category 1 is Super Glider, Wallow Wing and Triforce Kite, which is the blue one. It's actually called Hylian Kite actually, or something, or Hylian Glider or something like that. And it's 12 points total. I think it's called Sail Clot or something like that, something similar, but yeah. Category 2 is Cloud Glider, Parasol, Flow Glider, Paper Kite / Glider, I don't know what it was called, it's 12 points total. Ori Wing, Plain Glider, Golden Glider, and Hylian Kite at 12 points total. The Hylian Kite is the more Breath of the Wild looking one. And then in category 4 we have Peach Parasol, Paraglider / Parafoil, Bowser Kite, and Mario Kart TV Glider at 11 points total. But yeah, and they are good at certain things. And the way that I calculated how many wins certain categories. So the speed winners, we had like category 1 and 3 won the speed category. Acceleration winners were category 2 and category 4. That's basically if they share the same amount of points in the category. And in the handling we had category 2 and category 4 being the winners, and in traction we had category 1 and category 2 as winners. In Mini Turbo we had category 2 and category 4 as winners, and then in Invincibility we had category 1 and category 3 as winners. This meant that category 2, which was the Cloud Glider, Parasol, Flow Glider and Paper Kite / Glider, those were the winners at 4 victory points total. And then category 1 and category 4 both shared 3 victory points total. That's basically how many times they won, or basically were tied with someone else, right? So yeah. So it's just that Cloud Glider, Parasol, Flow Glider, Paper Kite Glider is basically the best gliders overall. And then basically 3 victory points total for the Super Glider, Water Wing, Triforce Kite, and also for the Peach Parasol, Paraglider, Parafoil / Bowser Kite, Mario Kart TV Glider, so yeah. And yeah, so yeah. And that's basically all the tiers, right? Because we went over the characters, we went over gliders, and stuff that we went over the tires and everything. Right, yeah? We did go over the tires, right? Yeah, we did. Yeah, so yeah. It's actually pretty interesting looking at the tiers and stuff there, but of course, yeah. Now, obviously, of course, how much of the stuff I will post into like the description and stuff that. Very good. It it's so annoying when you have to feel like, oh, I have to go and take a dump, and then it's like really, really hard to do. I think I got everything out. Because I want to make sure that I got everything out of the bottle, so yeah. So I haven't tried the RF4 demo yet. I know a lot of people have played it, used it so much and stuff, but yeah. But Mario Kart 8 DLC has been so good, and it's pretty cool to test out the combos. Because Toad is actually... like I tried out a lot of the characters, like Toad and Luigi especially feels like really, really, really good now and stuff that, so yeah, so... It is pretty insane, of course. That with some of these changes, you know, of course you're gonna see a lot more variation and stuff that, but yeah. Now, of course, I wouldn't say that the Tanuki Kart or whatever is like the best vehicle or whatever, because that's going on the right Mario Kart thing. Second from right column is the mini turbo, yeah. So where do I have it? Yeah, second from right. Yeah, because those are where we have the buff there. Because if you go over the Tanuki Kart, it only has a 0.00 mini turbo. It was of course buffed up to that value. So yeah, because basically the majority of the karts did get a mini turbo boost. And some of them that used to be minus is of course less minus on the mini turbo stat, you know. Which is a pretty big deal, of course. And a lot of ones that used to be minus are now at 0 and stuff that. There's like 1, 2, 3, or technically it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 categories now that are at 0.0. And then technically there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories also that are now at 0.25. They used to be like at 0 in mini turbo stat. So yeah. So yeah. It's crazy, right? Because yeah. And I don't know why only on the Japanese stat they dare to show the minus, the negative points in the stats and stuff that, like, I don't know why that is, you know, and why they don't do it with the English stats and stuff that, you know, because yeah, because that's not how it translates into in-game, it feels like, right? It doesn't translate into, oh, if you equip all of these you like gain negative stats or whatever, you know, and stuff that, because yeah, because you can clearly see when you put on rollers, and I saw rollers, right, you can see acceleration and stuff go up. Because yeah, the main problem is, of course, yes, they give you negative stats overall, but the thing is, of course, they give you pretty good acceleration and other stats as well. So yeah, so that's the thing. Or maybe it's how certain stats are weighted that okay, overall it gives a minus in points total, for example, on roller and Azor roller. But then there's stats that they are really, really strong at. Those stats will kind of stand out and stuff that in terms of how the point allocation works. Anyway, yeah, those has been like the buffs and the, you know, the buffs and stuff that to the Mario Kart 8 and stuff that. Obviously, when I will upload this, hopefully I will do it like right away after I've gonna take that massive dump and stuff that. But yeah, I will of course probably go and play some more of it and stuff that, because yeah, it's just very, very good. Although I'm thinking really about playing the R4 demo, because yeah, there's of course a hidden TMP you can unlock, and then you have the whole Mad Chain House mode, or whatever you call it. The Mad Chainsaw mode and stuff that. The thing is though that it seems interesting, right, that it seems like it ends after you kill the chainsaw dude, and I don't know if they will make that into the original game or if it will just be like survive long enough. Because if that's the case, like, you don't want to kill the chainsaw guy too early and stuff that. You want to make sure that you pick up treasures and stuff that. But yeah, it also seems, of course, that, you know, like a lot of things, because yeah, there's been a bunch of like leaked stuff. Like for example, I've seen some of it because all the footage you see is just basically jumping around. It doesn't show you all the time. It basically cuts. It jump cuts, and I'm guessing that's to avoid like copyright or whatever, or not getting taken down. That it shows you very few seconds from certain things. And yeah, because you basically saw the scene when Bitores Mendes, he kind of seemed to start chasing both Leon and Ashley, and I'm guessing it's just a short chase to the building where he's in and stuff. That I don't know how long that chase scene is, you know, and stuff there. But yeah, but I mean, you could technically tell already when that place, that gaming site, did the gameplay. That gameplay wasn't, of course, from the gaming site itself. It was just that it was Capcom's gameplay and stuff that they sent to the place. And yeah, because there you saw that, chapter 4 or chapter 5 or whatever was in the church. Well, after you save as, you're basically in the church and stuff that. And then it's like, okay, but that, by that point, normally in the normal game, you're in the castle. But apparently it's supposed to be the same length as the normal game. So maybe it is that it's like faster in movements, or you get through the game faster, but it has more stuff, so you could technically make it last longer and stuff that, you know. Now technically you can farm for infinite money right from the fish that you could use in the original game, right? And then there's another point, like after the minecart ride, I believe it is, after the minecart ride, there's a section where it's a spinel that can drop from the ceiling, or maybe that was further on, maybe it was in the island part. But we have basically this spinel that drops down, and that spinel can apparently respawn with a certain amount of time between. So technically if you go off K there, or whatever, or if you go back and press every certain amount of minutes or so, I forgot how long the respawn is, you can basically farm like 99 spinels. So technically it's infinite money. Although technically I don't believe you can go back to the place or whatever, like after you get to a certain save, I don't think you can go back to it. Because I mean, if you can only reach 99 spinels, then that's not technically infinite money. Because it's hard to get back to that place, I think. And stuff that, but anyway, I'll see you all